Greetings, friendos. Reformed Stoic, back with another video. So this one kind of just popped into my mind as I was taking part in some discussions online. Somebody made a comment. Well, this is kind of a weird way to start the video, but we'll just go ahead and start it here. We'll start it in a weird place. Made a comment that, and I don't know if he was like really meaning it to be simulation theory, but that's kind of what it sounded. You know, the simulation theory stuff is kind of becoming casual these days. He said that the farm is for men, and it's just like we're being farmed for our suffering, and that women are part of the simulation. It's like, damn, that hit hard. Ladies, I think some of you are player characters. That's one of those things that you don't really believe, but it just feels good to say. It's just, let me just let my hair down, girls. Women are part of the simulation. Oh, I hate you. You're a misogynist. You suck. It just feels good to say that because a lot of men have probably had some of their loosh. That makes the snares rattle on my snare. Loosh. Loosh. There we go. A lot of men have probably had some of their loosh farmed via pain caused by women. But what this video is about, guys, is you will provide loosh one way or another. If you aren't going to cause other people to suffer, then you have to suffer. And I think that that is reality. If you don't cause people to suffer, then you are going to suffer. And we're in some sort of a loosh farm matrix. Maybe, maybe not. It certainly feels that way. It's one of those things that just makes sense to where you can kind of riff on it intuitively. And this is kind of piggybacking on the video about the demonic matrix. And that's the thing, is like it works with regular Christianity too, you know, like the world is demonic, you need Jesus to get away from the demons. It's still the same thing in Gnosticism though, just that, you know, Yahweh's a part of it and he's not really what people thought, and that's why he was mean. It's all just kind of silly. It's all kind of silly. Regardless of whether or not the loosh farm exists, it demands loosh. Okay, it really does. So if you're one of these people who you could say is like anointed, you know, this really falls into the chosen one stuff. You were inclined to be gentle, to be good to people. Because remember, in that demonic matrix video, the powers that be in society are trying to lay the groundwork to get people to be more loosh inducing, judgmental, mean, basically to cause people to sin. That's the premise of the demonic matrix, is that they want people to sin because that puts them in a lower vibrational state, basically, which makes them more susceptible to demonic possession. Well, I'm trying to figure out how this just all connects in terms of the loosh farm. I mean, if you're not willing to be possessed by a demon, which ultimately isn't really up to you, it's determined by whether or not you have a Christ-like nature, then the world, right, the world that Jesus said we're going to be in but not of, like when I say the world, that's like a horrible place. That's funny how that works. You know, there's all these like theological terms, you know, Holy Spirit, Christ, the Son, the resurrection, like there's all this terminology. The world. See, when I talk about the world in theology, well, that's a horrible, demonic, shitty place. And it's funny how true that is. That is the biblical terminology for the world. So, in this world, if you are not willing to be possessed by demons and torment people for the loosh farm, then you will be tormented. And that really kind of explains the whole chosen ones, anointed, whatever you want to call it, phenomenon. Like, people are horrible to you. You don't feel like you deserve it because you're a good person. Obviously, somebody can watch those videos and then they can just kind of like be a raging narcissist who thinks they're better than everybody. Like, I know a lot of people look at that chosen ones thing as that. But theoretically, it is possible for you to have this experience. Like, people are unusually cruel to you and you're gentle, but you know, you experience things in different phases. Ultimately, the way that the narcissist entraps people is by trying to get you to turn into the Frankenstein. I don't even know if I kept those videos up. I had like a video diary or something, one of the many times I was trying to quit weed. And I said that like you're their creation, you're their Frankenstein. Once you lash out, you know, once you suffer the death by 1,000 cuts from the narcissists and you lash out and, you know, you have your little moment that everybody judges, that's when they can finally say, it's alive. That's when you've become their Frankenstein. I need a whole video of, like, all of my terminology gathered for this narcissistic, chosen ones, loosh farm, demonic matrix terminology. It's good stuff. But that's pretty much what it is, guys. I really just wanted to show off my Mauger jersey. Let's go! Like, why some, like, hardcore fan wannabe guy lecturing us about loosh? Because you need it, punk! Once again, I've fallen off the horse on my videos, guys. So this is another... I feel like it was only like 3 or 4 videos again. I said it was a warm-up video. Well, here we are again. All I can tell you guys is... whether you want to call it the loosh farm or the demonic matrix, it matters that you do specifically what Jesus said. The more you are in line with that, I mean, Jesus is just outlining the way. That way was already there before Jesus taught it, but Jesus taught it in its entirety and basically gave people an opportunity to understand how to be benevolent, not of the world, gentle, forgiving, nice. Jesus really did tell people to be nice, but it's just better to be nice. And I feel like people who are kind of in line with this, you know, chosen ones, anointed one, being better than everybody, nothing's ever your fault. No, but really, people who have had this benevolent way about them, you know it's better. It's not better in the sense that, like, people fuck you over all the time, but when you're in your own little world, when you're walking about, doing this and that, you should just know that, like, you're less guilty than other people. Other people just stomp on people's faces every day without even thinking about it. And you, the chosen one, are just... you just live in a better way. You don't use other people's loosh as fuel for living. That's a pretty good way to be, dude. So when you're trying to reconcile the loosh farm with the demonic matrix, it's basically like, oh, well, you know, the demons are basically archons too. And all the demons / archons just want loosh, so demons are trying to get loosh from you, and you know they enjoy the loosh, but then also the loosh like fuels the whatever, you know. Loosh. Okay, guys. Well, that's it. Basically, if you're nice to people all the time, if you're like what Jesus wanted you to be, then the purpose that you serve in terms of the loosh farm, and this is a real wingdinger. This is what I've really been struggling with in this video, because it's like, not everybody here believes we live in a loosh farm. And I don't know if I believe we live in a loosh farm, but it just works so perfectly. It's like, yeah, if you don't provide suffering by causing other people to suffer, then you have to suffer. And that just seems to make perfect sense. Now, it is pretty easy to just say that the demons, they thrive in cruelty, and it goes back to the demonic matrix that, when you have this wicked base nature, you're traumatizing other people, and you're serving the demonic matrix. So it doesn't have to be a loosh farm. But doesn't that feel like what life is sometimes? Like you were just meant to suffer. And there still is a Most High God. And you still are going through a kind of purification learning process. It's just that it's taking place over multiple lifetimes. And it's worth considering, man. Because, yeah, if you die in this life and lose all of your memories and then have to start from scratch, I believe that there's some sort of like an intuition that you carry from life to life, if that's the case, if that's how things work. But it's just larger, it's just to a larger extent. Like, you are allowed to be in this fallen place, because your lesson will be learned once you have made your way out of it. And when I'm trying to tap into this kind of like more energetic vibrational system, I would say that salvation by works makes a lot more sense than salvation by faith, which is why I still boast up the system of the Catholic Church, like holding yourself accountable, having a system that tries to push you to be better, because you need to be better. If we are dealing with some sort of system of ascension, it's better in the sense that you're never going to end up in eternal hellfire, but it's worse in the sense that it's very difficult to get out of here. So, yeah, just some food for thought, guys. I'm just a lonely philosopher letting his mind wander. The bottom line is that there is a suffering quota for every person on this loosh farm, hypothetically. And if you don't provide it by causing others to suffer, you have to suffer. This is a demonic matrix. The powers that be want people to act in a low vibrational way, literally translating to against the teachings of Christ. And if you don't act that way, the only purpose you can serve to them at that point is to be a chew toy. It's like, okay, well, he's never going to be a conduit for one of our demons, so let's just fucking terrorize him. I mean, we're a bunch of demons. We're creating towns full of demonically oppressed people. We need somebody to torment. We need somebody to be our enemy, so it's going to be you. It's going to be you, the one who follows Christ, who is of a higher, better nature, because it's better to follow Christ. Like, that's what they call the divine commandment question. Is it good because God says it's good, or does God say it because it's good? God says it because it's good. Jesus is teaching you the good. It's not hokey pokey, like, hey, everybody do what I say, just because I say so, just because I'm the king. It doesn't really matter if you're good to people. It doesn't really matter if you're good. Just do it because I said so, and I'm the fat burger eating king. That's what you have to do to get saved. You just have to do what I say. No, Jesus is the king, is God, and he taught objective good. It's better to be benevolent. It's better to be forgiving. It's better to not thrive in judgment. And there really was some sort of a checkpoint for me where I learned to transcend a lot of these things. Little things, guys. When you catch yourself being jealous of other people, when you want to try to, like, attack somebody who's doing good because, you know, you wish you were doing good, you gotta just let it go. You gotta just let it go, guys. So much of it comes from a fear of lack. Like, if I don't knock this guy down a peg, then he's gonna take what I'm supposed to get, and there's not enough. And you know what? My experience is like, yeah, I don't really have, like, amazing things in my life right now. Not all the amazing things that I want. So it's kind of like, yeah, I stopped tormenting people. I mean, I never really tormented that many people, dude, but I stopped my wicked nature, a lot of it, and it's not like a bunch of good things came raining down on me. In fact, a lot of chaos started raining down on me first. But it's just about understanding, guys, that it's a better way to be. And some people would put the emphasis like, no, it's important because Jesus said it. It's like, it is important because Jesus said it, but Jesus said it because it's the way. It's the way. So even if you're not a Christian, I think my channel is heading a little bit in like a perennialist direction and just kind of pure philosophy and just pure wisdom. But the thing is that what Jesus said is pure wisdom. So it's kind of come one all. Come and get it, everybody. Like dinner time, wisdom time. Like everybody just, this applies to everybody, man. So real spiritual evolution is being more like what Christ told you to be. That is the way. You want to like spiritually evolve, or you want to be some occult weirdo and spiritually ascend, then you just do what Jesus said. Really hard. I mean, if you want to make it like more of an occult, esoteric system, then you actually do it. And that's really what the Catholic Church and Orthodoxy is trying to do by having this system. Now, when they say you're going to go to hell if you die in a state of outside of a state of grace, it's like, well, maybe not. Anyway, guys, I'm rambling. That was a ramble. God bless. I'll see you next time. Peace out. Hey, little farty. Little Foodie Junior.